Hey everyone, this is P4L coming to you live today, featuring Mastermind Creations Boreas, their R22 from their reformatted line. And as people start joining, or maybe they won't, we'll start going ahead and going through your questions regarding this figure. Any comparisons, anything you want to see, whether that's transformation or other comparisons, just let me know. But as you can see here, we have Boreas, or kind of an IDW. Hey Justin, how's it going? Kind of an IDW version of Cyclonus. I went over this in my review. It's not really fully IDW more than meets the eye, as we came to kind of expect from the reformatted line. Somebody did bring up in the comments that the line didn't start out always as more than meets the eye. I think it started out, just as general figures that they wanted to do, like the Predacons and so forth. They had their own kind of unique style, and they still kind of do that. So you could say that it's not a reformatted is not a more than meets the eye line, but we come to kind of expect that, and I think that's where the biggest fan base has been coming from for the reformatted line as of late, and with right, because the series has become exceedingly popular. So has the toy line. So I think it's kind of good that they go there. I just think it's kind of odd that they went in that direction with Cyclonus, especially since Cyclonus is so prominent in the More Than Meets the Eyes series. Mainly because of his little buddy that he hangs out with all the time. And this is Make Toys, what do they call him? Rear End? I think that's what they call him. But yeah, these guys go together pretty well. I think he's a little tiny for the scale. Rear End, that's what they call him. Thanks, Justin. Here he is with the kit that he comes with for the, Battle in Space Cyclonus that we got a few years ago. I ended up having to go back and pick this one up for the Generations figure, because I had to pick this figure up because it was the one you really wanted for how the kit goes in terms of the coloring and overall look, because the other colors were kind of weird. It was like a dark purple and stuff like that. And at some point, this guy was like super expensive, like $40. Anyway, just a quick comparison. There, they both have their great swords. And as I said in the review, you don't get a lot with this guy. You do get the alternate head, and the horns are interchangeable, which wasn't made obvious even in the booklet. And I'm still not sure if that's actually intentional, but people are doing it. PL did it, and I did it as well in my review, as well as the official video manual that I shoot for MMC. So it's a thing now. This face I don't really get. It doesn't look G1-ish. It has yellow eyes. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's the G1 toy. I never had that, so I don't really know. If you guys know when Cyclonus has ever had a face like this and yellow eyes, just let me know in the comments. But it seems like we have a few people on. Is there anything you guys want to actually see as I go through this? Really quickly, just to show you the other mold mates that he has for this mold. You can see that they did change quite a bit throughout the various ones. These two had similar chests, while different abdomen areas. Same thing here, right? The lower legs, by and large, didn't change that much between these guys, but they did change for Cyclonus. And I kept saying that, given that this guy is the only one that has a more than meets the eye version, they should have made this one more accurate, and then they could have played a little bit with it to get us these kind of fun versions of Death's Head and Deadlock and so forth. But I'm not a designer. I'm sure they had some master plan before. Maybe this guy was designed years before More Than Meets the Eye Cyclonus became popular. Who knows? Everybody knows Mastermind Creations does have a really long lead time and development time. So who knows why they ended up doing what they did. As far as improvements for the mold here, I said in my review, but one of the biggest things is the shoulders way tighter. It's still not a really good design, but these are really bad. They're really loose. Anytime you try to articulate the shoulder, you end up unavoidably moving the shoulder joint, as opposed to here. So see, I can move this one and it doesn't have an issue. This one's a little bit looser, but still not too shabby. The swords are a bit different. I'm actually a little surprised they remolded it, but they did make it more accurate to the comic. One thing I didn't notice when I did the review was that he actually has a slot here, 2 slots on either sides, and I don't know if it's intentional, but it fits the sword perfectly. So if you wanted to have him holster the sword this way or on this side, you can do that in addition to the designed magnet way on these black dots and here. Can you flip it both ways? No, you can only flip it one way with a magnet. The color is the other thing that throws me off. It definitely is a more G1 color in terms of the movie. And then obviously the different color forearms. You get the pink highlights. That's another thing that people have been complaining about. The pink highlights, they don't bother me too much since they've done that before. But I definitely would have liked a more plain, what we think of more than meets the eye Cyclonus. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys like the purple or the pink highlights and the details, or are you guys like, Oh, the one other thing I noticed about this mold, which I always thought was weird, is I don't know what's going on with the oops, popped off Death's Head's head. One thing I noticed is like all the abs like sit back from the waist on all the molds. I don't understand that. Like these two have like really big gaps here. And Cyclonus is a little bit better, but I don't know why they designed it like that. Why didn't they make it flush or, as you would expect, flush at the midsection or at least sticking out from the upper body? That would make more sense to me. In any case, the overall look is still pretty good. I was surprised that I liked this figure more than I had with the pre-production samples that we had at the different cons and so forth. I don't think he's fantastic, but he's actually definitely a recognizable Cyclonus. The wing stuff, the backpack kibble isn't too bad. But we're not getting a lot of questions, so I'm just going to go ahead and just start talking about random stuff then. So the replacement head is pretty easy. I do like that they got rid to give you the option to pull out the horn and put another horn in. They never told me that was a feature. And honestly, it was kind of tough to get out, so I don't know if that was intentional. Some other things that I wanted to mention. Oh, the other tolerances on this guy are way better as well. So when you transform, let's go ahead and transform this guy since no one's really talking. I kind of don't like it. Yeah, I don't blame people for not really liking it. Honestly, I've explained this before. I basically get these figures for quote unquote free for doing the official video manuals. Otherwise, I probably would have skipped this guy myself just because, again, it doesn't match my collection, my More Than Meets the Eye collection. But the tolerances are really much better. So here on the shoulders, a lot of people had problems with this not connecting, but now it connects with this guy way better. So let's do the arms really quickly, like so. And they did add landing gear, which is nice. Although I don't really understand people's obsession with landing gear. Hey Alan, how's it going? Yeah, I mean, I don't think people would be disappointed, and actually, I think it's actually a pretty good price point. I think what is it, like $80? So I think he's an okay figure, and if you need a Cyclonus in your life, it's not a bad one to have. Alright, let's see what else we're supposed to hear. Oh, rotate this down like so. Get that in. And then get these leg armor, these samurai-ish leg armor things down like so. Then we're going to come to the back. I'm going to flip this open. Flip this up on this double hinge. Flip that down. The wings are going to flip like so. All these tabbing pieces here are way better than the other two versions of the mold. Get this cockpit back. This kind of tabs in here at the shoulders. This covers up the face. And these little weird peggy things on the side are what hold it all together. So here's the nose cone, and this up like so. Alright. So once we come down here, I think the easiest way is actually to start with the keyed wing piece here, and then tabbing in all the other tabs. I feel like that works a bit better than doing the tabs first, which eventually come undone anyway. So let's just do that first. Get that back. And then the legs are super easy. Just fold them up on themselves. Point the toes out. And then you have one little tab here that goes in up there. One method that I found works the best is to go ahead and grab this. And because it is molded in a specific way. Yeah, sure, I can do it with the other molds. Yeah, I can do that. So you see there's kind of a cutout area here. You just go ahead and push down on the knee while you're like that, and then that fills in perfectly there. There will be some dead air while I'm transforming some of that other stuff, the other molds, but they look by and large similar, and the transformation is not very different on any of them. Is that in? Can you show them other MMC and Chuck figures? Yeah, so I brought some other ones out because someone asked about that too. So I brought out the other Cyclonus. I brought out some of these guys. So we'll just keep them in the background for now before I forget. I don't have a bunch of figures, so because I generally don't collect Chug line so much. But anything that you guys really want to see, just let me know and I'll see if I have them. And then you tab the two halves of the legs together. And then you get the landing gear out here and here. What happened? Oh, pulled the cover instead of the landing gear. Put the landing gear there. What's going on? Why isn't this staying? Anyway. There we go. Get that Chrome Dome and rewind. I think I have rewind. Chrome Dome I have somewhere. Guys, where is he? I know I have him. I was messing with him before. Okay, well, sorry, I don't know where they are at this exact moment. But putting that out, and you guys wanted to see the other ones, right? So we'll bring out Death's Head and transform him, I suppose. Kind of got to remember how to transform some of these because they're so different. One of the annoying things that you had to do with these guys was like you had to turn the head backwards like this and push the neck piece back. It was really weird. Can you do a comparison with Combiner or Cyclonus? I don't have that Cyclonus, unfortunately. I thought that looked pretty awful, so I never picked up that Voyager. I believe you're talking about the Voyager one, right? Sorry, I forget. I didn't see the name of the person who asked for that. But unfortunately, I don't have Combiner Wars Cyclonus. It was an ugly figure, so I passed pretty hard. That was a remold of. Wasn't that a remold of what's his name? Silverbolt? Was that right? Yeah, exactly. I thought so. And I didn't love that mold anyway. It was okay. But see, a lot of people have kind of the issue here, and this is one of the improvements that they made. You can still get this to work, but it's not as solid or as well toleranced as the one with Cyclonus here. I forget how all this wing shit works. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've transformed Death's Head, and he is slightly different. His head's supposed to go in like this somehow. This is supposed to cover it. Alright, we'll just leave that off for now. Well, how does this work? Anyway, something like that. We'll just keep going. We're just gonna move on. Do you always think Cyclonus had this mold in? I don't know. I didn't. I think they did. I can't imagine that they came out thinking that they were just gonna do a Death's Head and Anubis, a Deadlock. Like there's no way they came out and designed this mold just for that, right? So, oh man, I forgot to flip this over. So they must have had some figure in mind, and this mold clearly does have a Cyclonus alt mode aspect to it. So they must have had this in mind. My guess is just that maybe they didn't have a more than meets the eye Cyclonus in mind. Maybe they were trying to go for kind of a new stylized, updated classics or something like that. Man, I'm doing a terrible job transforming this guy. I thought this was supposed to lock in a little bit better. Or maybe not. These didn't lock in all that well. And that was one of the great frustrations with this mold early on. Especially this one with the weird peg that pegged in here that never pegged in very well at all. Oh yeah, and remember this one had like really tight knees, which made it like sound like you're gonna break your figure. Something like this. Get this down. Alright, something like that. Oh, and this one had these little fin things that flipped out. So Alan, here's one kind of done in the same fashion. It's clearly not a very good job, but I don't want to spend forever doing that. This old mode looks like Trigger Happy? I don't know about that. And then Alan, do you want me to do this guy too? Or or is this enough? Yeah, so that's what I said. I liked Anubis's alt mode because of the cool wings. Alright, good, because I don't feel like transforming another one of this mold. It's not that good. And again, with the magnetic joint or piece that's in the sword, you can store the sword on either wing, forward or backwards. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like this mold a lot. I think it's a pretty fun mold, and they've used it for a bunch of different characters. Do you guys want to see anything else in alt mode before I go back? Because people are asking about comparisons to Robot now. Do the wheels roll if he has wheels? Yeah, he does. They all roll. They all roll. Sorry, somebody said something about Springer Spitz. Yeah, Springer Spitz. This mold's been used for who's been used? It's been used for Rodimus, right? Before, and they used it for Sandstorm. Was it Sandstorm that they used it before? But this mold is actually kind of cool, and I've seen a lot of people customize this figure into a bunch of different ones. The other one, Green and Red Jet. No, I don't think it has any wheels. That was a new addition here. See? Landing gear was added just for this version, just for Cyclonus. Which is good, although it does make his arm really weird looking on the back, but who cares? I mean, no one's really going to look at the back of the arm, right? Alright. No other comparisons for alt mode. Last chance for a request there. I want the Jet Car Robot Transformers toy. What? I want a Jet Car Robot Transformer. Jet Car. What figures was a jet and a car? I'm trying to think. I'm sure there is one, but I can't think off the top of my head. I'm sure somebody in the chat will be able to think of one better than I can. A jet and a car. Alright, transforming this guy back so you guys can see some comparisons. Any other requests for robot mode comparisons that you guys want while I transform this guy back? I can bring out some of the current what's it called, right? Titan Masters if anybody wants to see that. I don't know where my Chrome Dome is, but I do have like what's his name, Weird Wolf and stuff like that. See, I don't know what's going on. I didn't even take this left form out, but it's super loose. It's weird. Yeah, Spartan. Yeah, I have Spartan. I thought I did a comparison with them in the review I did, but maybe not. I'll go grab Spartan. I was actually at what was it, the Tamashii Nations. I don't know if you guys collect figure arts or Bandai stuff. I was there the other week, and I think I'm gonna do a live stream maybe in the next couple days of just the stuff I got from there, like their exclusives, their Mazinger. What else was there? Their Kaioken Goku. That was a big exclusive that people were lining up for. They had a ton of those. I'm thinking about going to New York City Comic Con this year as well. Pretty sure I'm going to try to make it out there. So if you guys are in New York, maybe I'll see you guys there for that. So here he is back in robot mode. And somebody wanted to see him with Springer. My Springer's really crappy. I got it as part of a lot. And somebody did some not so good customizations on him. That's why the panel lines are there. Those are not my customizations. Give me 1 second. Here, another MMC IDW character, because somebody asked for more IDW MMC character comparisons. Again, I don't know where my Chrome Dome is, but here's a Titan Deluxe for you guys. Do I have a Titan Voyager? Here he is with... Yeah, he's pretty big. Roadbuster's probably a little small, and I also have him hunched over. But if you straighten him out, Roadbuster is actually bigger, I think. Yeah, I mean, not counting the horns, Roadbuster is slightly bigger. Can you do a head-to-head comparison with Combiner Wars Megatron, please? I don't have... Wait, I think my son has Combiner Wars Megatron. He's sleeping. Give me a second, and I'll see if I can steal his. Hold on. Oh, before I run off and steal my 6-year-old's toy, here's Spartan. Somebody asked for Spartan as well. I have a Whirl somewhere, but I don't know where that is. Sorry guys for the dead air. I had to go and grab a Combiner Wars Megatron from my son's room. I'm such a bad father. I went in and turned on the light while he was sleeping. Oh man, I'm terrible. He didn't wake up, he's fine. Do you know if the Reform Fighter Megatron was bigger than any of these guys here? He's about as big as what am I thinking? As Tarn, their Tarn. What is their Coulter? So their Megatron, which is coming out fairly soon, is around the size of Coulter. At TFCon, we did I did all the poses with them in the case, going head to head, and they're about head to head in terms of height. So hopefully that answers your question there. If you guys had any other questions that I missed while I was sneaking into my son's room, feel free to ask. And let's see. I'm just transforming Megatron for whoever asked for that comparison. So here he is with Combiner Wars Megatron. And I don't like this mold. I thought this Megatron was kind of awful. He looks really goofy, and this gun thing here, his cannon, looked pretty awful. I do have Hegemon, but he's in storage right now, so I think that would actually be a decent comparison. Yeah, his tank mode's pretty good. I still prefer this cup over the Titan's Return cup, but the Takara one looks actually really good now that they updated the colors. So hopefully this gave you guys enough comparisons in robot mode to see whether it works for your collection or not. And it seems like a lot of people have reissued or gotten another stock of Spartan. Like I think BBTS and some others have gotten reissued. So if you haven't picked up Spartan, definitely this is your opportunity to do that. What's better, Combined Wars Megatron or Voyager Titan Return Megatron? I don't have the Voyager one, but I gotta imagine the Voyager one is better. I don't know. Somebody else can probably answer that question better than me. I don't know. I didn't like the whole triple changing, pre-molds. I think that's a new term people are using where the remolds come first. So that's why we got Optimus Prime as for Octane, and then we got Megatron, the Voyager Megatron for Blitzwing, which have just come out. What third-party company would you like to see doing IDW characters, maybe in MP scale? So it seems like G Creations. Was it G Creations or Generation Toy? Maybe both. They're doing kind of MP stylish IDW characters. So I think both of them are pretty good. G Creations, I always have a problem with the engineering. So I haven't picked up their Optimus Prime, IDW Optimus Prime, because that thing just looked like a nightmare to transform. But yeah, that figure just did not seem to work for me. The Generation Toy one is coming out very, very soon. They have the final production pictures up on Facebook and everything like that, and that actually looks really good. Both look pretty accurate, but I also like that the Generation Toy one looks a little bit bulkier than the other one. The G Creation one kind of lanky, which again, he looks like that. Omnigonics, yeah, definitely not ANT, definitely not. But I would like to see a bunch of companies actually come into this line. It's kind of weird that no one else has actually done that. I did talk to Mastermind Creations about why that might be the case, and it's because more than meets the eye, IDW is very much a Western thing, and so you don't have a lot of widespread appeal across the globe, which obviously limits your market. But if there's one company doing it, then this one company taking a vast majority of that IDW pie. When more companies do it, and again it's only mostly towards Western audiences, it's going to be much more competitive than say the Generation 1 Masterpiece, or even the classic scale that we've seen across 8-9 different companies probably at this point. I would like to see a new Springer, though. An IDW Springer, I think, is long overdue. And I always like Springer in general, and I don't think we have a very good Springer in general. So the Masterpiece scale third-party ones that we've gotten so far, like from, was it, who released the Springer so far? Was it DX9 or Unique Toys? I forget which one. Either of them, and then I think that one wasn't too good, but we're getting some from Fans Toys and stuff like that. I think most people would like to see Fans Toys do pretty much anything, but I think they're going to mostly focus on MP G1 for now. The Aglian Continue, I don't know what that is ending soon. Aglian. Fans Project did the OG third-party one. Yeah, OG third-party one. I don't remember them doing IDW, but I do like that's one line that I wish would come back, the Fans Project's Headmasters line. I think they're some of the best designs that we've gotten, and it's kind of sad to see that line kind of die, because we saw some designs for Ape Face and stuff like that a few years ago, but we haven't seen a new Fans Project Headmaster release in quite a while. All right, any other questions, comments? I'm happy to keep it going for another 30 minutes, or I'm happy to cut it short. Anyone hoping to see a new High Moon Studios Transformers game? I don't know. I was never into the other ones. I wasn't collecting back at that time, so I never played the games. So I don't collect Planet X stuff really. I actually just sold my Omega not too long ago. It'd be cool to get another Skids. The Skids was in high demand when he first came out, but he's kind of a flawed figure. I wonder if MMC would do one of him. But I think also people are complaining about remolds. So going back to the discussion of who I would like, MMC and IDW and the market being as small as it is. So a lot of people are like, why the remolds? Again, because the Western market is the only market really for more than meets the eye. So insofar as it's popular in the Western world, that's why they have to do much more remolds than you might expect. That's why we've gotten 3 remolds of this guy, or 3 uses of this mold for this guy. While we've gotten a couple of uses of the Deaconess Roadbuster mold. And so forth, because they do need to make up the money elsewhere. It's a business decision, but it makes sense. I don't mind them doing that so that we can get at least one really good figure. I think, unfortunately, for this one, they didn't do a really good job with the remold. But they did do a lot of great figures. So, for example, their DJD, most of them are unique molds. But they're such popular characters, they probably sold a lot. Like their Anarchist and their Kaon and so forth. And their Coulter, which I'm guessing they'll probably eventually remold as Roller, which would be cool. But, I mean, those weren't remolded at all. And again, it's a small market for them. So I think that's probably why we're not going to see too many. Make Toys did do this guy and the upgrade kit. But I think that was a small investment, right? And they did some stuff too. Their Manga Mech series, they did that for a while. Maybe they'll come back with more stuff, because they did their Swerve and who else did they do? Swerve and the other version of that mold. Gears, was it Gears? So I think there are companies that are well equipped to do it. It will just be a matter of whether they want to invest the money there instead of other projects. As far as the MMC stuff, Carnifex is probably my favorite. It was definitely my favorite MMC release of the year. It might be my favorite third-party release of last year. Coulter was really fun and looked really good, but there wasn't like anything amazing about it in terms of transformation. It's pretty straightforward. So I can't give that ultimately high praise as a Transformer figure, but I think it's a really well done figure, especially for the people who really want a DJD. I sold my deluxe Cyclonus. He was crap. Yeah, the deluxe. I don't think it was a bad mold. I think he looks pretty good, especially with the upgrade kit with the thigh stuff here, and the horns. I think he actually looks quite good. I mean, much more like a IDW more than meets the eye Cyclonus than what we have here with Boreas. Late to the stream, but is Cyclonus a good figure? So he's probably the best toleranced of the three uses of the mold so far, like with their Deadlock or Lockdown. I always keep saying Deadlock. Deadlock is the name of Drift, right? Before he became Drift. But this is their Death's Head. He's the best toleranced. But I think the coolest use of the mold might be it's tough. I like how you get a lot with Lockdown, but I think the alt mode looks really cool here, and you never get a Death's Head figure, so I think maybe the Death's Head might be the best use of the mold overall. As far as an overall figure, the way I put it is he's definitely a Cyclonus. He's just not a more than meets the eye Cyclonus. So if you want a Voyager scale-ish or size-ish Cyclonus, I think his robot mode is passable. Definitely looks like Cyclonus from the head, and some other aspects. But his alt mode is actually really good. I think the alt mode here looks really very much like the Cyclonus that we've come to expect. Wasn't Bludgeon Drift's master or something like that? No, masters. I don't remember. I didn't read the Drift storyline. I know. So that's another figure that Mastermind Creations is coming out with. They're doing an alpha and beta, which is Wing and Drift. They actually showed an updated version of Wing not too long ago, and I don't know anything about that story, but I thought somebody said Wing was his master or something like that. but I'm not really sure. And then the enemy was Turmoil, which was Mastermind Creations. Gosh, I'm not, trying to keep all the names straight between third-party names and the real names. Turmoil was his real name. I have no idea what his other name was for Mastermind Creations. He was the mold mate of Spartan, which is also was I heard he's really hard to get as well. But the wing and drift, I know that they went back to the drawing board and did some. Oh, Commodus, thank you, Justin. Thanks, Anthony. But yeah, their wing and their drift have undergone some engineering changes. So if you saw the photos from one of the Asian conventions this past week or so, you can see updated versions. Is there a repaint of Tarm to be released, new mask and all? I don't know who it would be other than Roller, but they haven't announced anything. They've been doing some funny stuff on the MMC channel, the MMC Hub. If you are on Facebook, they have a group called MMC Hub, led by what's his name, Turnman, and they were doing some funny, recolors, retools, and stuff like that of an Autobot version of Tarn, which I don't obviously would just be a reuse of that mold just for money's sake. I think they should go ahead and make a roller out of it, just because it makes use of the mold pretty well as people were thinking that Tarn was Roller for a long time, or Roller was Tarn for a long time. I have everyone here except that Cyclonus. Can I see the weapon storage? So, weapon storage. So, he has a magnet here, right? And these black dots on the back of these wings are metal or maybe magnetic. And so they can store here and here. But one thing I didn't put in my original review, which I ended up putting in the official manual, is that he does have slots back here that also seat perfectly. It doesn't, I don't think it's officially used or officially mentioned for this usage, but it works perfectly. I mean, it fits really snugly and it makes sense, right? So that's weapon storage. In alt mode, same thing. You just use the magnets here, and they stick out on the wing like this, essentially. Great, another backpack transformer. Yeah, but I don't think this backpack is horrendous. There are definitely worse backpacks out there. I wish they did something a little bit more to secure this wing, though. That would have been nice. But then, I don't know. Officially, I think it's supposed to be back like this. I think that's kind of silly. I like it having it out like this, kind of flared out, so it looks like wings. Oh, one other thing that I did want to mention to those who haven't seen my review is that it does have limited articulation at the shoulder. Oh, good timing, Knights of Icon. He does have limited shoulder articulation here. So kind of like Decumus, you can't really get around that unless you start, messing with the shoulder joint here, which is unfortunate. But he does have big shoulders, which are, Cyclonus. He does have a ball-jointed head, which is on an angle, which is kind of weird. His shoulders do rotate, although they do get some interference. You can probably manage something. They go out this far. A bicep swivel, double-jointed elbows. He has this elbow armor, which rotates by itself, as well as the forearm that rotates by itself. Things here. Can his articulation make him sit down like on a bench? Yeah. So we'll get down to there. He also has a pin jointed wrist, so if you want a proper sword hold where it's angled down like that, you can do that. And then he has a rest swivel. His wrist does just peg in. It's a remnant from the use of the mold for for Death's Head, where he can exchange the weapons. Let's see, his waist, he does have 360 waist articulation, no ab crunch, and it looked like, oh man, see, now I'm even more disappointed, so I just pulled this out. So this is the leftover from Death's Head. That's his abdomen. It's just kind of weird that this is all he did. Didn't even glue it into place. I'm gonna have to talk to them about that. But I guess you can, maybe that's a hidden feature. Let's see. So going on with articulation, so he can get his legs up like this, back like this, ratchet it out here. He does have this separate armor on a separate swivel, thigh swivel up there, and then double jointed knees, which are both ratcheted. So you can get, if you wanted him to get into kind of a samurai style kneeing pose, you can do that. And then sitting on a bench. He doesn't get quite 90 degrees, so he'll have to be leaning back just a little bit if you want the bench pose. And again, I mentioned with the review, it's weird that the way the leg is designed, you can't actually get him to have a straight leg. It's always sort of tilted at the bottom here. He does have this ankle cover as well as a big ball joint at the ankle, so you get a bunch of articulation there. Does he have a peg hole for a flight stand? I don't think so. So this is his bottom when he transforms. I don't think there's a peg hole there. Because, yeah, this will go down like this. And this all folds up. This comes down like this. Yeah, there's no peg hole. Well, let me see. Yeah, no. No, it doesn't look like it. No, like, small 5mm peg hole for flight stand, unfortunately. Stupid horn. Alright. I think it does look kind of cool, though. At first, I thought his shoulders made him look a little goofy. But from certain angles, especially not... Like, straight on, I think he looks weird because his chest is just too blocky. But from the side, when you have him angled certain ways, I think he actually looks quite good. I don't know. I'm probably not doing a very good job of posing him. Oh, yeah. So these here. So at least somebody likes the pink stuff. But you don't like the pink highlights on the chest or here. I don't know. People were really complaining about that. I didn't really mind it that much. But you could probably take some paint remover and get rid of those if you really wanted. Overall, there's not a whole lot of paint on this guy. And the plastic is kind of a glossy plastic, though. When is the time frame for his release? This guy, he's already out. You guys should... He should be available to you guys. And again, if you want, you can pick him up at my sponsor, Toy Dojo. But he should be out. So collectors have a second display option. Oh, yeah. His reactor core? Yeah, maybe. Oh, people have been asking about the hot rod. Yeah, so what are they calling him? Calidus? Something like that. Something that starts with a C. Energy paint on chest. Show me, dude. Energon. So the Energon paint here. The pink lines. People are complaining about that. But yeah, Mastermind Creations is doing one. I think it's Calidus, which I think is due out sometime in June or July. And then SXX, SXS, I think is doing one. They're calling him Hot Flame, and I think you can't see. There's these pink lines. You can't see these pink lines. Just the pink lines here, Knights. That's paint. The purple stuff is just molded purple, but the lines of pink are paint. Hopefully it's not just the resolution on the video. And I think MMC Rodimus is too tall. He should be smaller than Spartan, in my opinion. I don't remember. I don't think I've gotten to mess with a version of him when I had Spartan nearby, but I think he is fairly tall. That might be a good point. I think the other figures that I'm really excited about in terms of reformatted are the rest of the DJD. So they're doing Helix and I always forget the other guy's name. The two big dudes. They're doing both of them, which one of them was shown as a render and one of them was teased, which is great. that they're gonna finish off the DJD even though they're gone. Khaled is almost the same height as Generation Springer. I think that's okay if he's about this height, Springer height. Comparison with Galvatron. Which Galvatron? Oh, you're talking about. I don't actually have a Titans Return Galvatron, unfortunately. Yeah. So who was asking for the AJ Production? Sorry, I don't have a Galvatron to show him off with. And I sold my what was that really cool Galvatron that we had for a while? Was it Unique Toys? Unique Toys Galvatron? I had that for a while, but then I sold him. Mania King, yeah, I used to have Mania King Trents, but that's the one I was talking about. Then I ended up selling him. That was a great figure. I wish MMS started on another combiner besides Defensor. Yeah, you know, I haven't heard anything about their combiner Defensor. Their Perfection Series combiner. We've heard about that for a while, but they have so many things in any Galvatron. Okay, hold on. I do have Fans Toys Galvatron. Give me a sec. I don't have Fans Toys. Sorry, that's a lie. I have DX9 Galvatron. So give me a second to get him out of my display case. This is not a very good comparison. I apologize, but at least I scratched the Galvatron itch for you. Yeah, sorry, Trent. I sold mine my Mania King a while ago. Like I said, I didn't really collect Voyagers for a long time. I'm trying to trim back my collection habits just because I started out as an MP collector and I kind of want to focus back on that because there's just too much to buy now. There's too much cool stuff, but if you don't limit it, like I'm getting rid of all my Legends stuff essentially. If I see a Pyromagna head height comparison, please, it's my biggest. I have no idea what a Pyromagna is. Who's Pyromagna? Knights. Oh, Victorian. Don't have a Victorian. That's that's. And I don't have Defensor. Like I said, I've been trying to trim down my collection. So I sold my Defensor literally like a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago or something like that. But that's a Voyager scale figure, right? Pyromagna Voyager. Oh, give me a second. The only Voyager Combined Wars figure I have right now is Silverbolt. Do you want to see that? Maybe I can show you that. Victorian is the best combiner ever. Okay, all right. Give me a second, and I'll get Silverbolt out of here transformed so you can at least get an idea of the height against a Combiner Wars Voyager. I know that's not exactly what you want, but I have no Pyromagna. I generally don't collect the weird, not weird, but you know, the remolds, recolors that aren't G1. G1, I thought the Superior one was pretty good. I thought the Combiner Wars actually did a decent job of scratching that combiner itch that a lot of us have had. Especially their Devastator. I thought their Devastator was pretty well executed. I mean, not perfect by any stretch, but still something that definitely scratched the childhood itch in me. How do I transform this guy? I don't remember how to transform anything anymore. Yeah, Yufan, I agree. I thought the Commander Wars line, I like that. I do like the Titans Returns line. I just have to stop collecting stuff, especially like Hasbro stuff. If I collect it now, I usually get the Takara version, just because the Takara version tends to be a lot better and typically more accurate. Why can't I not transform this guy? Yeah, the only problem with the Combiner Wars line is that they remolded the crap out of that line. All right, this will have to do. So this will give you an idea of a Voyager, Combiner Wars Voyager with why. Can you not transform this with this kit on? Just realizing that you might not be. Oh, I see. It folds up to this side. I'm stupid. Here's a Combiner Wars Voyager with Boreas. So more than likely, I'm guessing your Pyromagna is going to be too small, or this guy's going to be too small for your Pyromagna. Yeah, most of the MMC line is not really a Voyager line, even though that's like the closest scale, I guess, or size that we typically get. They're all a little bit bigger, typically than a Hasbro Voyager. What do you think about the C+C custom kit for Defensor? I think it looks good, but again, I sold mine, so I really have no interest. How about a Scourge comparison? Which Scourge? I don't think I have a Titan's Return Scourge. Or did Combiner Wars have a Scourge? Wait, Titan's Return didn't have a Scourge. Wait, Titan's Return had a Scourge. Combiner Wars didn't have a Scourge, right? In either case, I don't have either of those, so I have no Scourge comparison. I do have a Masterpiece scaled Scourge, if that would help, but I don't think that's going to really scratch your itch. Who was asking for that? Yufan? No. Who was... AJ, yeah. So AJ, the only Scourge I currently have is X-Transbot Scourge. You want to do it? Alright. Alright. Ask and you shall receive. Well, since I have to move him out of the way, let's just bring Shockwave in. That's MP Shockwave. And here he is with Scourge. That's actually not terrible, but it's obviously not great either. Yeah, people are asking. I think people are just trolling me at this point just for random comparisons. Last time I basically destroyed my displays to do all these random comparisons for folks, but I'm happy to do it. Hey, it beats actually having to do stuff on camera. Masterpiece MP10. That's one I can do. That's an easy one. I always have a spare MP10. I think I always mention it. I probably have I have maybe 8 different versions of MP10 mold, including like 3 of the Hasbro one and 2 Takara ones. I don't know. I have a lot of MP10s, so I just have one here specifically for comparison sakes. This one's not terrible, but again, Cyclonus was supposed to be pretty big in G1, so probably not a good comparison there. Perfect size for you, really? Yeah. When you're a weirdo like me, you get a lot of different versions of the mold. Like I have the Evangelion version. I don't have any of the Bape ones. Thank goodness. Those would be crazy. I just have no money for, $500, $600 imports of the Bape ones, which I think are kind of ugly. Feral Rex. I do have Feral Rex, but unfortunately, there's no way I'm going to pull him down from my shelf to do comparisons with these guys. He is in the far back of my top shelf with my other combiners, so that would be a very, very tough one for me to do. I can bring out... Oh, do you guys want to see him next to Warden? I think that might be a cool comparison. Give me a sec. Here's Warden, who I think is a very excellent figure. He's definitely my favorite from Perfect Effect. Perfect Effect was on a high when they did him, and then they did a really disappointing Leonidas, the Leo Prime, whatever you want to call him, and then And then what was their most recent figure? Oh, I also have him. I'm stupid. Their most recent figure is this guy. Gorilla. This guy's okay. He's definitely not up to Warden's standards, for sure. So Warden is by far the best that they've released. This guy's kind of like middling, I think. Really cool robot mode, but the other 3 modes are all kind of crap. But then again, so was the original toy and the cartoon. But robot mode looks really good, but he has a lot of looseness too. Like his thighs are really loose, and he doesn't feel really well toleranced. So I don't know. Perfect Effect, they're kind of hit or miss for me. Yeah, he's huge. But Warden, this is Warden. Do I have the? I don't think I have the kit on him. No, I don't. But he also has the extension kit if you want to make him taller. So I think this scale's okay. Warden was obviously pretty big though, so might not work for you guys. All right, we're coming up on close to the hour. I want to make sure I give one last call for questions, comparisons, requests before Generations World. I do have him somewhere. I think it's in store. Actually, I might have them. I display my Boreas with Warden and Carnifex. Oh, that's good. Yeah, unfortunately, AJ, I don't have my whirl, or at least I can't see my whirl anywhere. So apologies. Jack, hey Jack, how's it going? Anyone know if there's a third-party Warden head replacement? I don't think so, but Warden's head's pretty good. You don't like this one? Oh, there is a separate one. So you can get the Perfect Effect. Also has a super deformed version of IDW Fort Max, and was also a headmaster, and I think the head could be swapped there if I'm not mistaken. You want to see who? You want to see Carnifex? Okay, I'm trying to negotiate my mess of a room to see if I can actually open that door to that cabinet. Give me a second. Alright. Here's Carnifex with Boreas. Yeah, sorry, Justin, you're probably answering some questions for me. I appreciate it. Yeah, the horn is swappable with the alternate head, which has the cut one. So if you want to have the cut one, it actually comes pre-installed on the IDW face. I just replaced it with the one from the whatever face this is. Say, what gun is that with Warden? The gun with Warden is his gun. I think it's from his upgrade kit, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I don't think I used the legs, but I think this is the gun that came with the Perfect Effect upgrade kit, where you got the leg extensions and stuff like that. And I think the gun came there, if I'm not mistaken. Comparison with MP Saker. I'm not going to be able to do a Skywarp comparison. I might be able to do a Conehead. How do you like his colors in hand? I think the colors look, again, they look good for a Cyclonus. If you're looking for a G1 movie Cyclonus, it just doesn't look like more than meets the eye. James, you said, what's next on your upcoming reviews? I dig this live program you take your time to do. Oh, no problem. Well, I appreciate that. The next thing I'll probably do, my next review is not actually probably going to be Transformers. It's probably going to be this. This is the Tamashii Nation's exclusive Shin Mazinger. Either that or the Tamashii Nation's exclusive Goku, or the Kaioken Goku, which I got at New York when I was at the World Tour. Tyrantron should be on schedule. Knights, you said, what are you using to do this live stream? Please tell me it's an app or Google. So I just used the YouTube app. So YouTube on iPhone recently came out with the live feature. So you can just open it up and there's a button that has a camera and you can go live and you just click go live. That's also why it's a lower quality than what I've been typically shooting my reviews on, because they only allow, I think, 720p for live streams. And most on all my other reviews are 1080p 60 frames per second. Although I'm thinking about getting the Galaxy S8 just because it's a really beautiful phone. And that I could shoot in 4K even though it would be back down to 30 frames per second. But I stopped using a dedicated camera just because it's kind of a pain to have a dedicated camera. The one thing I do miss from having a dedicated camera for my reviews is I don't have a zoom feature. My iPhone doesn't have an actual zoom. I don't. If I had the 7 Plus, I guess I could use that zoom feature there. But I'm just getting into the weeds. All right, so we're over an hour now. Last call for requests before we sign off. The next set of reviews I'm probably going to do. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I actually shot an Al C video. So Al C is her. This is the upscale generations knockoff that Wei Zhang put out. So I actually shot a review for her earlier. It's actually going to go up later today or tonight. So that'll be my next review that you guys will see. But the next one I'm going to shoot is probably going to be, some of the Tamashii Nations exclusives or something like that. This is actually a pretty good scale, though, I think. This figure isn't great. It's almost purely a Generations 1 knockoff, just upscaled. Except you can take off this backpack and then take off this piece at the bottom. Come on. If I can pull it off. Come on. Of course I'm not going to be... There we go. So you can pull this off. And you have a little bit of a sleeker, less backpacky version of RC. So yeah. All right, well, I think we're coming to an end. I appreciate everyone coming and joining these live streams. I'm actually trying to do more of them. I might actually make it just kind of a weekly, regular thing and maybe not have a theme every single time with a new release. I might just talk about what I have on hand or that is of interest that week in terms of new releases and stuff like that. I think that'll be a little bit easy, and that way people will know exactly when I'm doing the live streams as opposed to when I sporadically do it. Samsa Chum, yeah, I've been doing live streams for the last month or so. I try to announce them on my Facebook page as an event. AJ, I don't have Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, sorry. Samita, do you collect Bandai robots? Yeah, so I collect some Soul Ichigoken stuff. I've really just gotten to Soul Ichigoken this year, like a couple months ago. So I collect I started with Voltron, their Voltron, which is awesome. I got to mess with their Megazord at New York Tamashii World Tour, and that was a bit of a disappointment coming after Voltron, but it's still pretty solid. And then I have a DX Mazinger, which is kind of one of the holy grails of my collection. I love it, and I got it for not a crazy price. It's just a Knights of Icon. It's just a camera button at the top, right? And I don't know if you're using iPhone, if that's where it is on iPhone. If you're on Google or something else, Android or something else, then I can't help you there, unfortunately. But yeah, so I do Bandai stuff. I do figure art stuff every once in a while, but a lot less. Yeah, sorry, I don't even know if Android has the live stream feature, unfortunately. The only other Bandai stuff I really collect, I don't collect any Gundams anymore. I used to when I was younger, but anyway, going off into the weeds. So I think we're good. We're just over an hour. I think we've answered most of the questions, done most of the comparisons. Hopefully this gave you a little bit more information about Boreas and some other characters that we ended up messing around with, in hopes that you guys will pick them up. If you do, obviously, it'd be great if you support Toy Dojo, my sponsor. But really, if you support MMC, that's always great, since I do some work for them as well. So thanks, Justin. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, whoever else was on the line, AJ, such and so forth. I really appreciate it. I know my reviews are long, but I think these live streams are actually a little bit more helpful for folks. So I'm going to try to do them more often. They're a lot less work for me, honestly. Favorite Transformer, MP10. In terms of figure, I just have a really big love for that mold. I said earlier before you joined that I have probably like 8 to 10 of that mold. But Optimus Prime, I'm an old school guy. I'd like Optimus Prime. Samita, yeah. Any reviews on the robots I collect, Bandai stuff? Yeah, I only do mostly new stuff. Thanks, James. I appreciate you joining. Yeah, I only do new reviews typically, so I'm not going to go back and do some old ones. But I have been getting into Chogokin stuff recently. One figure that it's not even a figure. Hold on one second. Before I jump off, I do have to share a little bit of this figure. For all of you One Piece fans and Chogokin fans, this is the Chogokin Going Merry, the ship from One Piece. If you read that manga or watch the anime, this is probably my favorite toy in a really, 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 really long time. The amount of detail that they put into this pirate ship is ridiculous. All these ropes are individual plastic ropes that actually peg into different holes. This net connects on different pegs here and down here, which loops down, connects up here in like 3 spots. This mast has sails that connect there. These ropes all individually connect and peg in. This has like 4 different modes from throughout the series, and it's a lot of it's die cast. A lot of this section here is die cast. This rudder is a working rudder, and that would be cool in and of itself. But actually, when you open this up, when you assemble it, you actually put this steering wheel, which is a small version of the masthead right there. It actually plugs in so that you control the rudder from inside the cabin. That is just crazy amounts of detail, and it's actually accurate to the show, the cabin and everything like that. This is probably the craziest, most unreasonable amount of detail I've ever seen in a figure, and it's by far my favorite Chogokin figure to date, which is really, really weird because it's a pirate ship, but it's cool. And they have a working anchor. This actually works, and if you go inside of here, there's a little thing that you wind up to get it to shorten. Like, the amount of detail on this thing is ridiculous. So if you are at all a One Piece fan and you collect Chogokin or models, I highly recommend this thing. So this is random that I'm not even talking about this, but this figure's been out for a long time, but I just started collecting Chogokin stuff, so I just got it. Anyway, easily my favorite figure of 2017 so far. All right, that was a random aside. Hopefully this was fun for you guys as it was for me. I'm gonna keep doing these, and to get you more information about upcoming figures or just recently released figures that you want to add to your collection. Thanks a lot, everyone. Hope you have a good one. Have a great week ahead.